Hey, so in true spirit of what I'm going to be talking about today, I did actually try and film this little video pod, whatever you want to call it, like a few weeks back. And I listened to it back fully intending of like editing it, uploading it, and I just did not like how I explained things. And yeah, so we're gonna try and film it again, and hopefully this time it will turn out better and you will be listening to it. So yeah, in the true spirit of the subject today, we are going to be trying again. I actually haven't filmed one of these in a while and I've missed it a lot, so I'm glad to be doing this again. And so today we're going to be talking about trying, just because I know it can be very frustrating and very grating and just physically and emotionally exhausting to try and not really see any results. What made me think about this subject and what made me want to talk about it was that I was thinking a few weeks back when I originally thought about this and recorded it for the first time. I kind of unlocked a memory for myself. I didn't really see anything or do anything, or when you you see something or you smell something or whatever and it like triggers his memory. Nothing really outside of myself, like nothing really physical triggered it for me. It was more I was thinking about the position I'm finding myself in right now in life and thinking about I maybe expected myself to be somewhere different, maybe, quote, ahead of where I am now, and thinking about how I've tried to be in certain places or do certain things and it's never really worked out, and trying to just give myself some credit for what I have achieved and what I have done, even though it can sometimes feel like I've just tried and nothing is working out. And I thought back to a time when I was in primary school and I was in year two, so I was probably about gosh, 6, 7, probably 6, because I'm one of the younger ones. But it was Red Nose Day, so like this charity day for this. I believe it's a children's charity. I should know. Sorry. And basically, you pay £1 to go in non-school uniform, and that pound goes to the charity, and you do a load of fun activities throughout the day for Red Nose Day. And that day, for some reason, was just not my day. Everything was going wrong. I was trying so hard in all of the activities and it was just not happening. I remember one of the activities very vividly. We had to make bags out of like pieces of paper. Very like a cheap activity. When I look back on it, like how are we supposed to make like good functional bags out of pieces of paper? But hey, yeah, we had to make these bags. We had to with like Pritt stick, like those glue sticks, we had to glue pieces of paper together but leaving like one of the sides unglued, and then cut out handles with another piece of paper and stick them on for like the handles of the bag, and then we had to make a red nose with a face and stick it on the bag. Pretty simple, pretty good activity for Red Nose Day for a 6-year-old, right? And I remember just really hating it, and just really every simple step I could just not get my head around and it kept going wrong. And I remember when it got to like making the face on the red nose, I was just like, it just went bad. And I kept asking my teacher for like advice on how to do stuff, and for some reason I misinterpreted everything my teacher said, and I kept being like, oh, like this, and then showing her what I had done, and her face just like screwing up in complete just like bewilderment of like, how did this child screw up such clear instructions? I look back on that time now and I'm like, wow, I was so imaginative and my brain was just wired in such a different way that I just like interpreted her instructions in such an amazing magical way. But at the time I was so frustrated with myself for just not getting this thing right, and like I was constantly, oh, is this right, is this good, and constantly just being met with my teacher like frowning and like getting a bit frustrated with me. And I could tell that she was just like not judging me but just getting frustrated, like, how do you keep getting my advice so wrong? And just having to try again and like I couldn't draw the face right, and it was just a whole mess. And then I remember one of the activities as well, we had to just decorate cakes with like that really just like liquidy, icing sugar and water, and it made that really like liquidy icing and with the dolly mixture. And you decorated fairy cakes and digestive biscuits, another classic English primary school activity. And again, for some reason I just could not get the icing to do what I wanted it to do. I couldn't get the dolly mixture to do what I wanted. Like, it was just, the whole day was just a mess, and I kept asking my teachers for advice, and I could just tell that they were getting frustrated with me, and I kept just having to like start again and do things differently, and no matter what I did, I was just getting these things wrong. And by the end of the day, I was just so exhausted, so mentally exhausted. I felt so bad about myself. I felt like I had been like naughty or bad for getting things wrong. I felt really stupid and really silly. I felt so embarrassed, and I honestly just wanted to go home and cuddle my mum and cry because I was just so tired and I just didn't want to be there. I just wanted to forget that the day had happened and not acknowledge it. So yeah, I basically just felt like a failure, and I wanted to go home, but I couldn't because, you had to have carpet time at the end of the day. Your class sitting on the floor on the carpet while the teacher says numerous announcements. And one of those announcements was Star of the Day, which again, pretty classic for an English British primary school. But if you don't know, Star of the Day was basically a little award that the teacher gave to one of the students that had showed just really positive qualities throughout the day and kind of maybe stood out amongst the other students. I was like, great, another thing to make me feel bad about myself. I bet some other kid's gonna get it, like, oh. And I was kind of just like sat cross-legged, hunched over, like looking down, twiddling my thumbs, just wanting to go home. And to my surprise, the teacher announces that I am Star of the Day. And I was in complete shock. I was like, why are you awarding me for being so terrible at everything? Today has been the worst day. Why are you rewarding me for that? And apparently, some other kid felt that way as well. I believe his name was Jack. I just remember him like putting his hand up because I remember this boy being in the same group as me, as we like all had our little groups and we would rotate and what activities we were doing. And I just remember him hating him because he just managed to get everything right first time. And I remember thinking like, oh, I hate you. And I think he was expecting to get Star of the Day because he was kind of sat on the carpet all like, puff chest and everything. And I remember he put his hand up and he said, oh, why does she get it? So I think he was expecting to get Star of the Day, which is quite funny. I was thinking this as well though. I was like, why are you rewarding me? Like, do you pity me? What's going on? And the teacher basically explained to us that I was getting Star of the Day because I showed a lot of strength and perseverance, and I didn't get things right the first time, but I kept on going, and that showed a lot of perseverance and courage. And these are really good qualities, and that we should all strive to persevere. And we're not always going to get things right the first time we try them in life, and we really just need to learn to have courage and keep going. And I think that was a really important lesson for not only me, for like the rest of the class to learn and to know. And it sucks that we always forget it as we grow up. I think we're only really rewarded by others and ourselves when we do right or we're quote successful. We never really reward ourselves or feel good for trying. And especially if the trying doesn't really work out, we're kind of made to feel bad. Yeah, I really just wanted to take this time to remind myself, but also remind anyone that might find this whenever. Trying is just as amazing as actually getting things quote right or seeing stuff turn up in our physical world. I think that a lot of the time is why I find myself kind of wanting to give up or stop doing something, because I'm maybe not seeing any of the quote benefits turn up in my physical world. Feeling good on the inside doesn't have a lot of it's not given as much credit as it should. I think a lot of the times I and maybe other people stop doing things because, it's not really changing their lives in this big way that they thought it would. But then once you stop doing something, it's like you feel bad and you're like, well, why do I feel bad for stop doing this? But it didn't really change it that much, did it? For example, when I used to be in this sort of cycle of like meditating and affirming, and then my life would kind of look the same on the outside. So I would think like, oh, it's not working, like I'm just wasting my time, I should stop doing it. And then I didn't do it for a few weeks and I would feel terrible and I would be like, why do I feel terrible? Or, I would stop. I would not journal and then I would be like, why do I feel so terrible? And then I would meditate again and then I would, start my affirmations again and affirming things to myself, and I would journal a bit more and I would be like, wow, I feel great. And even though nothing drastically changed in my physical world, in my physical life around me, I felt good. And I think feeling good needs to be noticed more and it needs to be appreciated more. So yeah, that's a little side note that I want you to take away as well. Obviously, as well, I'm going to be speaking broadly here, just because I don't know what you've tried, and maybe you tried something and it worked out, or it didn't work out, or it didn't work out as you expected it to. It didn't reap the rewards like you thought it would. Maybe you tried something new that you've never tried before, or maybe you've tried something that you've tried before and it still hasn't worked out. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is that trying is amazing and you're enough and you've done enough, even if it hasn't worked out or it hasn't worked out in the way that you thought it would or that you would have liked it to. You're still worthy and enough, and it's a big thing. You need to reward yourself, and that can look different for everyone, you know what I mean? That might look like, you trying, maybe you've struggled with anxiety or, whatever, and it takes a lot for you to go outside, and when you go outside you get yourself like a coffee or a little treat. Like, that's amazing, well done. Or like, maybe you tried something and it didn't work out, but even just telling yourself like, well done, I'm proud of you, rather than being like, well, I'm an awful person, obviously it's my fault and obviously I didn't do enough because it didn't work out. I think we attach so much meaning and put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect and for it all to work out. And again, like, we don't necessarily put as much importance on feelings. You could have gone to a class hoping to be great at this thing, or hoping to find a passion, or hoping to find what you want to do in life, or hoping to meet new people and have amazing relationships and connections. And maybe you went to this class and none of that happened, and you found that actually you don't like clay or painting or whatever you did, or acting or whatever, dancing, and maybe you didn't really mesh with the people there, and you've come home and you're like, well, that was awful and whatever. But actually, if you sit for a minute with yourself and you ask yourself, okay, maybe it didn't work out exactly as I was hoping, but I still went outside, I tried a new thing, it was exciting, I did something new, I don't have to do it again if I don't want to, and actually I feel good because I went outside today and I did something new and I met new people and, I interacted with them. And even though we're not gonna form like lifelong amazing connections now, I'm still proud of myself for doing that. And pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, again, you're not going to be always rewarded with a big massive thing. And I think that's something that I've learned as well, and it's taken me many a time to realize that actually big amazing things are not going to turn up in my physical world, which sucks because like I'm very much like a homebody. I'm very much a person who loves to just be at home and be in my comfort zone. But then on the other hand, I love change, so it's very very frustrating, right? And I think a lot of the time when I do push myself out of my comfort zone and nothing big like that happens, I do tend to be very frustrated and angry, not only with the universe or life or, whatever, but with myself, because I'm like, oh, I didn't mesh with these people, so it's my fault and I should be more like them, or I didn't, enjoy this thing, so that means that I'm bad or at this thing, or, I should be different or whatever. But actually, I need to look inside myself more and think, you know what? Yeah, I didn't make any new friends today, or maybe I didn't really enjoy going outside. Maybe I feel much better now that I'm back. But actually, I do feel better for going outside, even if it was just for like 5-10 minutes. I do feel like I've been productive, or I've like quote achieved something today by going out and trying something new, and I'm proud of myself for pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because that's a big thing for me. It might not be for you, and that's fine, but for some people, it's going outside of your comfort zone is a big thing. I think we should just be proud of ourselves for that alone, and yeah, just acknowledging the feelings that we have, even if our physical world, it might not have been quote successful, it was still successful because, you went outside, you did something new, maybe you had fun, just not in the way that you thought you would have done. I also just want to talk about when to take a break, and I think sometimes hustle culture and this productivity culture, and you have feeling like you have to achieve a load of things throughout the day. I want to say one thing to you. Existing is hard, and if you just exist for the day, that is achieving something, and that is amazing, and you should be proud of yourself. I mean, especially if you struggle with your mental health, but just in general, if you made it through to the day today, well done. Like, I'm proud of you. That's amazing. Like, you're here, we need you here, even if you just bed rotted all day, all week. I don't care. I'm proud of you. You're still here. You've made it through. Well done. It's hard. I know. So, you know what? Well done. I think there's a lot of pressure on us to be, quote, productive. But being productive can mean a lot of things. Just doing things and being successful means so many different things to so many different people. But I think because of like productivity culture and like hustle culture, we've made it just this one thing in like this tight little box, which means you've got to have lots of money, and you've got to have lots of friends, and you've got to be beautiful, whatever that means, by societal standards. And it's just, success is very like this one thing, and it's like, no, success should be what makes you happy, within reason of like not harming others and yourself, you know what I mean? But yeah, success should be like having a happy life, and obviously we're all different, so happiness is going to come from different things for all of us. But I think, sorry, long story short, the point is we are made to feel like if we breaks, then that is us tapping out and we can't take breaks. I think there is a huge difference in taking a break and giving up, quote, giving up. I also realize as well that there is a time where if something is just not working and you feel like in your heart that you have to just drop this thing and try something else, that's also okay. We grow, we learn, we change. Like every second, every day, every week, every month, every year, we change. Things that we might trying or doing for us in the moment that work for us in this moment may not be working for us tomorrow or next week or next year. It is completely okay to just leave something behind that is not serving you anymore and do something different. That is not giving up. That's not, you should not be made to feel guilty about that or anything. But yeah, I think there is a huge difference between taking a break and giving up. And I think we should 100% take breaks, and we should learn what we need to do in the moment. Do we need to just step away for 10 minutes, have a cup of tea, come back to it? Do we need to maybe step away from it, go back to the drawing board to try a different thing? Or do we need to maybe, okay, this is not working, I'm going to put this aside, I'm going to get on with something else, and maybe not even look at it for a week. I'm a writer, okay, and I know that we should all be writing every day or whatever, but sometimes I just need a week away from my work, I need a week away from my novel, and then I come back to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I know what I'm doing right now. But I think we just need to learn, and we need to give ourselves that time and that grace and that patience to work out, okay, what kind of break do I need? Do I need a month long, don't even think about it break? Do I need a 10-minute coffee, tea break? Do I need to ring someone up? Do I need to go outside? Do I need to journal? Do I need to meditate? Do I not even need to do anything at all? Do I just need to sit with myself and be quiet? Do I need to watch my favourite TV show and distract myself completely? There's so many things that we can do for ourselves in the moment, and all of them are right and correct. We just need to give ourselves that time and patience and grace to work out, what is my heart telling me that I need right now? Do I need to rant to a friend? Do I need to be quiet? I think also just realizing that failing, quote, failing doesn't mean you're failing. It just means that maybe you've got to work a bit harder. Maybe it means that you need to approach it from a different angle. Like I was saying, maybe it just means that you need a break. Maybe it means that it's just not the right time, and you might not even come back to it in like 3 years, but then you do come back to it because the time is right. Maybe those failures are just meant to be there. I can't tell you how many times I've had a great idea that I've thought was amazing, and then I've been met with so many roadblocks and so many things that I'm like, oh, why is the universe doing this to me? And then I've taken a step back and realized actually it's not that deep, and the universe is not against me, and maybe I should have just just taken a step away and had a cup of coffee and realized that it's not that deep. But it's okay to have, moments where we're like, I'm cursed. No, you're not. You're just going through something, and that's okay. I was listening to this podcast, Spirits podcast. It's an amazing podcast. They basically two of these amazing girlies host it, and they basically just have a different drink each episode, and they talk about myths and legends and different deities and all of that. And it's amazing. And I was listening to their Ganesha episode. I hope I pronounced that name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. They were talking about how this particular deity is the god of new beginnings and transformations, and if you're starting out something new, you should work with this deity or pray to him, and he'll help you remove obstacles and roadblocks, but also he might put them in your way as well, for many different reasons, and we all have different interpretations of these things. They were talking about how this roadblock may appear because you need to be on a different path at this moment in time, and it's just protection. A roadblock may appear to see, okay, do you really want this, or are you just gonna do you not want this as bad as maybe you think you do, or are you gonna get past this because you do really want it. It might just be to test our perseverance. It might actually appear to give us a break as well. Sometimes these roadblocks appear and these things happen because we need a break and we're not giving ourselves one. And these roadblocks are saying, hey, give yourself a rest, give yourself some time, and then we can come back to these things renewed and refreshed, and we can't keep giving to ourselves and if we're running on empty. Also, just realizing that people's lives aren't the same as our own. Everyone's on a different path, literally everyone, so we can't compare ourselves to others. We can't look at someone and say, well, they tried it that way and they've got what I want, or they did that and they've got that, and I'm trying to get the same thing that they've got, but I'm doing what they're doing and it's not working out, or whatever, or they may have succeeded where you quote have failed. Maybe you believe that they're more qualified, or you're more qualified, or whatever is annoying or confusing you about whoever's lives you're comparing your own life to, which I'm guilty, by the way, of doing. I compare my life and myself to so many different people, and I think, oh, they're so ahead of me, or oh, I'm so behind, or I don't understand because I'm doing what they're doing and it's not working for me, or maybe you're not meant to do it the way that others are doing it. Maybe you're meant to do it a different way for you. We're all different, and we all have something different to put into the world, which is what makes us all so special. Sorry to be cheesy, but it's true. I know I literally heard the eye rolls, but it's true. Yeah, you just need to stop comparing yourself to other people's lives, because literally our lives are our lives. They're nobody else's. So that of course they're all going to be different. Society has got this idea, this one fixed idea of what success looks like, and what living the right life looks like, and what every stage should look like, and what we should have achieved by a certain age. And I think that is just bullshit, excuse my language. And I think that's part of where my anxiety comes from sometimes, is that I keep trying to do this, and I keep trying to get my life in a better position, and I keep trying to be where I'm meant to be, and it's just not happening. And I think sometimes I just need to remind myself, hey, maybe I'm in the spot where I'm supposed to be right now, and maybe it doesn't look right to me, but I reckon with hindsight it will eventually start making sense, and right now it doesn't, and that's okay. We just need to try and remember that it's our life. It's not anyone else's life. I think just finishing off again, I'm going to try and speak as broadly as I can because I don't know what you've tried recently or what you're going to try or what you're going through or whatever. But I hope this makes sense and resonates in some way for you. I'm going to read a little thing for what I wrote down in the notes of my phone, which is actually maybe why it's not working is because you're here to create something new. Maybe the reason why it's not working out is because you're meant to do things differently, your way. Some people believe that nothing is original, which I guess is some truth, but it's being done by you, and if you allow yourself to do it your way, then it is new, because no one else is you. So only you can do it your way and in an authentic way, which isn't to say you shouldn't take advice if it's good advice, and if you want to take it on, you can, but make sure you do it your way and in an authentic way to you. Yes, that is what I wrote down in the notes of my phone. I hope that made sense in some way. I hope that helped in some way. And yeah, I just think it's so true. Like, maybe you're just trying to do it in somebody else's way. Maybe you need to try and find your way of doing things. And if it's something that you truly love and if you truly believe in and if you believe that it's the right thing to do and if you believe that it's right and you do things with love in your heart and with the right intentions and remain open to other people's opinions and advice, but don't sacrifice your authenticity as well. I wrote another thing in the notes of my phone that I'm going to again share with you now. Again, take this as whatever, and I hope it will make sense to you on some level and help you out if you need it. Just know that if you really truly love something and you want something and you're taking actions and steps towards getting it, then it will happen. But try to be open to new ideas. Try to be open to how it might come about, and most of all, listen to your heart and try to do what's best for yourself. If you need a break and a step back, take a break. You can only show up for yourself and this amazing thing that you're going to do, or this amazing life that you're going to lead, if you are being taken care of. And if the only person that is taking care of you is yourself, then it's yourself. You've got to pull up your big girl pants or your big boy pants or your big non-binary pants and and be there for yourself. I know sometimes it fucking sucks, again, excuse my language, but I am here energetically for you, like sending you good vibes, positive energy, and I'm giving you a pat on the back and I'm telling you how proud I am of you because I know it takes a lot. And final lessons, final things to take away from this video, if you take anything away from this video and my yappings and my annoying rants, just be proud of yourself and reflect on what you've learned. And sometimes you don't have to do this. I mean, sometimes you could have just, try to open a conversation with someone or try to talk to someone and it didn't work out because it's like talking to a brick wall. And, maybe you've just reaffirmed what maybe you thought about this person or what you thought might have happened. But hey, you have learned something from the situation because I've been there. You've learnt that you are strong and that you have courage, and that even though you were scared to talk to this person and you knew that you were going to be talking to a brick wall and you knew that you weren't going to get the outcome that you would have wanted, you still opened and you still tried to communicate to this person and reach out. So you should be proud of yourself for that, and you've learnt that actually you can do scary things and you have the courage to do the right thing and to follow your heart even though it didn't work out the way you wanted to, and maybe works out the way you were dreading, but you still tried, and that takes true strength and courage. So well done if you did that. But yeah, just reflect on what you've learned. Like a lot of the time we can be like, oh well, I failed, or oh well, that I knew that wasn't going to work out. But actually, what have you learned? And sometimes it could be like this long list of things, and you could be like, okay, I know what went wrong now, and I'm going to go back to the drawing board, and then I'm going to finish my invention, blah blah blah. But sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's just, well, this person didn't react the way I wanted to, or I didn't make the connections that I wanted to. But you know what? I've learned that I can now do the big scary thing, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. You know, it can be a long list of things, or it can just be that one thing of like, I've learned that I'm stronger than I think I am, and I should give myself more credit. And finally, just give yourself grace, give yourself credit, give yourself love, and give yourself thanks for being here and for carrying you and for, yeah, just for trying. I think just be proud of yourself for trying and love yourself, and yeah, reflect on how amazing you are and what strength you have for doing that big scary thing. Even if it, you think, oh, it's just a small thing. If it's a big scary thing to you, then you should be proud of yourself for doing it. And again, I get it. I have anxiety sometimes, and going out and doing quote little things, such big things for me. And it's okay to be proud of yourself for quote doing quote little things. You know what I mean? If they're big things to you, then they're big things and they matter. So yeah, I'm proud of you. I love you. Thank you for putting up with my annoying ramblings. And I will be leaving you now because I've once again spoken for way too long, and I've probably said like an way too much. I hope you got something out of this. I'm proud of you. Thank you for being here.